I don't think I even have to say how busy we all are, so let's cut straight to the chase. I do buy rotisserie chickens when I go to the markets that have them, and I love the smell of them, and I rip them apart as soon as I get home. And tonight I'm making pizza for the kids and me. Here we have a cluster mushroom known as the oyster mushrooms, also called the pearl oyster mushrooms. We were at a farmer's market and I had planned on buying maybe some baby bellas, but when I saw these in the case, I was like, wait a minute, let's do something different with this pizza. So we bought these. These normally would grow in the forests on the side of the trees, just like this, in clusters, just like that. They attach themselves to the bark right there. That's why it's sometimes called a cluster mushroom. Now I'm going to just take the knife and cut out the part that attaches to the tree and loosen up to where I have my mushrooms that will be loose and hitting the griddle. And if they didn't all come quite apart, that's okay. I didn't want to cut too deeply and waste anything. So I'm just cutting through the roots this way until I get to the place, sort of like a head of cauliflower. That's really no more complicated than that. And this will be enough for one beautiful pizza. So I'm going to go ahead and come over to the griddle and I'm going to put a little oil down to start. So let's spread that around for a moment. The mushrooms are going to be so much better by cooking them beforehand. I mean, salt and pepper, they're the king and queen of spices. I'm going to add different spices in the dishes that we make together, but you can always count on salt and pepper making an appearance on the cutting boards of whenever I'm cooking. So salt and pepper onto the mushrooms now. Oil was the first thing we did. Now I'm just going to go ahead and give them a little stir. The griddle is, I wouldn't call it fiery hot, but it's nice and hot because I want to really cause the mushrooms to cook suddenly. You do not want them to sweat. What's going to help do that? Some good old-fashioned butter. So I'm going to drop that down in a few places on the griddle so that the butter has a chance to react with all the different mushrooms, and I'm gonna let that sizzle for a moment. Got some garlic. The active ingredient in garlic is called allium sativa, and the more you chop it, the stronger it becomes. That's why roast garlic is such a different thing than minced garlic. I'm gonna go ahead and put that right down there with the butter bubbling up. And just give them a little stir again. Smells amazing. If you wanted to, you could get some herbs on here as well. They're called oyster mushrooms, and this is a good example of one right here because of the oyster shape, not because of an oyster flavor. Some people say that the flavor is reminiscent of anise. I think the flavor is mild and it goes with just about anything, and that's one of the reasons that I feel completely happy about putting it on pizza. Next thing we've got going, the rotisserie chicken from the store. I'm gonna go ahead and break off like the wings. Now, you could nibble on those wings, or you could hand them to one of the kids to nibble on, and then you're gonna go ahead and just break in, take off the dark meat. Rotisserie chicken cooked like this is like convenience food without the swear word that might be. Save the backbone, save the wings, make a beautiful broth, save all the bones that are underneath here, save the skin. The skin is delicious. I like the skin plenty. I don't ever toss any part of this away, but all this is I'm gonna come back and get, but I'm not using the white meat for the pizza. Why? Because to me, white meat is a little too lean for that, and white meat works really well with chicken salad sandwich, something like that. So the mayonnaise helps moisturize it. And that's just it. Then we've got enough there for a pizza. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that there. But before I completely walk away, I'm going to add a tiny bit of salt and pepper to this too, because this was cooked and all the meat on the inside of the bird is not seasoned. The outside of the bird can be seasoned, but inside that's impossible. So we'll season that, simply some salt and pepper. Okay, so let's go back over here and check on these. Yes, they are losing size because the water is going out and it's becoming concentrated. That garlic, I'm not gonna waste that garlic. That garlic's gonna go into the stock pot too. Okay, so back over here, put it with our other things. We've been to the store, we got our chicken. The other thing we get at the store is pizza dough. This did not exist when I was a kid, and I was kind of surprised to find it a couple years ago when I did. Perfect, look at that. I didn't put pizza on a menu until I got to Key West and we built a cafe up over the fancy restaurant. We'd been to California and we began to see the California food movement, which meant people like Alice Waters and Wolfgang Puck were making artisanal pizzas. And so when we got back to Key West, we put in a pizza oven. It wasn't a fancy one, I have to tell you. It was just a deck oven, but you can get fancy if you want. Okay, I like to build on the peel. You can do it your own way. Let's put a little bit of semolina down just to help lubricate the whole thing. You want to be kind of quick with that particular move. You're cooking outside, right? So it's hot. You don't want the dough to get sweaty. This is store-bought. This is a store-bought show, this one. Like very few you'll ever see me do. But this is a good sauce. You can find a half a dozen really good sauces, I'm sure, in your market. I would just say don't get crazy with too much tomato sauce, which tends to be something we do in the US a little bit more than overseas. All right, where do we want to go next? We haven't put any salt on this dough, and with the tomato, I have to put a little bit down. And now let's go ahead and take our rotisserie chicken, get it down. Let's go ahead and follow that with some chorizo. The meat is the dark meat, so it's got more lusciousness, but no lusciousness as much as this chorizo, which is in the salami shape. You can go whole all over it. Let's go to the cheese next. Low-fat milk mozzarella. It's grated on there. I love buffalo milk mozzarella, and it's got a place in my life. But some people are surprised that I would use what's called low-fat milk mozzarella, but it is the cheese that people love for pizzas all over the world. And again, remember, talk to you about the kids. I want the kids to be rolling in their chairs happy. And so put that all over as much as you want. Maybe not as much as some might want, but they can have cheese on their side. All right, that goes over there. Okay, here we go with the mushrooms, right? The oyster mushrooms, the pearl oyster mushrooms. This is not the convenience part of it. This is, well, it is, it's convenient, but it's not the everyday part of it. Admittedly, this is a little bit more special, but that's cool. I mean, we want to make sure that we're always adding one more thing. And when you have something as basic as a pizza, it's the one place that actually you can find an unexpected element, take it to another level, and show people that you're really thinking about them with love when it comes to cooking. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this into the oven. Cooking pizzas is ancient. It's been going on in Italy and Rome for centuries and centuries. There is no one particular time frame that I can say 7 minutes is what's going to happen. Your pizza oven, your stone, the temperature outside, all those things can have different ways of affecting your pizza. We put together a restaurant in Miami, and that pizza oven that was built there before I ever got there was built by Roman artisans, and it's cranked. No matter how old you get, it never gets old. People just, they don't say anything. They just start smiling as soon as they see this come out. It's just gonna be that way for you too. So you can do this or not do this, but I'm gonna do it. I just like to put a little extra virgin olive oil on the dough. Make it beautiful, extra beautiful. Those colors just become illuminated with the oil. I'm sure every Italian would attest to the necessity of some beautiful olive oil. And yeah, why not? Bit of that. This is completely lost your call, is ricotta. There are some that, just would say, never would I have ricotta on my pizza. And that's okay. And you don't have to put ricotta on the whole thing. I mean, I don't think my family goes out and everybody has the exact same kind of pizza. There's usually like 4 pies coming to the table. Just enough. Add a little kind of brightness and a little extra touch of dairy. And if you want to put some Parmesan, no one's going to find fault with that either. And so here we go. Ready to rock. Let's rock it. So you hear that? This cutter is going end to end. And that's it. This is what I'm talking about. Pizza, a few different moves, those mushrooms, don't forget about those mushrooms. And then just have a good time with it. Outdoor cooking, if you can arrange to have the music cranking, good wine, good beer, good friends, pizza. That's what it's all about. All right, I'm ready to taste this thing. Just because we're short on time doesn't mean we have to be short on flavor. Why do you think people have been eating pizza for like 3,000 years? It's kind of unfair for me to talk about something you're not eating right now, but these mushrooms, they are definitely worth you getting into the store and getting some and doing what I did. If you can't do them on a griddle, do them on some kind of a cast iron pan. Sizzle those mushrooms and then put them on your pizza like we did today. You'll be very happy. Oyster mushrooms. Trust me.